Mr. Dubois, every worker for himself, right? What can I do for you today? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course. I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
Hear that? You did it the honest way. You got the real signatures, and now he's happy. Well done. We would have preferred trickery, but the choice was yours, sire. As always. You are the liege, and you're in.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. Anyway...
Union Boy's gonna help you fix it. He winks at you. Don't worry, Harry.
The neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardeurs Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The Pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction.
As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt.
We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
I did not, Harry. Although I am very, very glad he's dead. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1. And that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. You're not an ultra-liberal, Harry. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be a retard. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're gonna take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. 2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
We've been running back channel negotiations with all the major clients. I think the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column.
In bulk shipping, large volume column is a major buyer, a shark.
We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his Benefed and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
It's also far removed from my men and the people of Martinez who've put their trust in me. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. Harry, the length you're willing to go to keep your nose clean is remarkable. You will always have a warm bed in Mr. Clare's household, my friend, and a special place in the future of Martinez. We're way past specific Union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry. Harry! By now, you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving... Well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces.
So the village is doomed.
You were there, you saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. We are going to reset it. Reset. I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth centre supermarket church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. And I knew you were one too, Harry. Right when you rolled into town. I've got the centre, I've got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years I'll get the church too. The wheels are turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on.
There is true indignation in his voice when he speaks about the state of things, and even a touch of pain.
Oh, I do, Harry. I really do. I'm gonna make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier with that boat of yours. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace. Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debarders Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. I'm always happy to educate and entertain you, my friend. So, what's on your mind? Very nice, Harry. Is there anything else?
hello again.
The worn and beaten... The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
Oh.
The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, on the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. Your hand trembles as you scratch your cheek. Oh no, that's not how a grown man shaves. Stop, for crying out loud. You're gonna cut your own throat. There's no way to salvage this. The razor lands with a clang. A red trickle begins to spread in the water. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your You see, a wa-
Good evening.
Yes? Excuse me? Detective, if I may be frank, you seem to be in a deranged state. You have trouble remembering things. You've misplaced your badge. I cannot let you act in the name of the RCM without supervision until you've regained control of your faculties.
Oh, so you're an unaccountable wreck who has to be supervised? You don't have to take this display of authority. You can disobey.
Except that I do, Detective. Some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll still have your evenings to yourself. Please do. We wouldn't want your regiment to spill over into the investigation.
The lieutenant is pretty sure self-care is just a euphemism for nihilistic binge drinking.
Excuse me? Frankly, Detective, you are in a deranged state. I can't let you proceed without close supervision. In fact, under normal circumstances, I'd be duty-bound to report you. Take it as a token of good faith between our precincts that I haven't done so.
The lieutenant thinks you're some unaccountable wreck who needs constant supervision. But you don't have to listen to him. You're free to disobey.
That's good. Except that I do. Except that I do. Some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll...
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
What do you want to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition.
His disdain is clear. This man would not use such an expression otherwise.
You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are 2 columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills. The rows are endless. Jean Vicmer, Judith Minot, a special consultant. What was his name? Then the rows degrade into green nothingness. Your brothers have left you.
Well, technically. The official record keeper has been known to double-count murder-suicides.
A common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats.
I'm good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
Clearly, he has already formed his own theory. It's all part of the master plan, you see.
I bet you do. The 41st is known to kill people. Often.
He neither approves nor disapproves. Yet there is something more there. Something you can't put your finger on.
If you could only find your gun. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition? If not, yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
He's actually glad it's addressed now. Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional. But I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
A cockatoo is a parrot with an erectile crest. Found. This book talks about the delicate nature of twos, as well as introducing some of the most popular. This is a ooh. This is a ooh. Perhaps in the words of, despite its banging name, the Bang Bang cockatoo is actually, despite its banging name, where to even begin? Pet owners also, it is not recommended to get, this is a yellow ooh. Despite its banging name, perhaps the most, in the words of poet explorer, where to even begin? All pet owners, it is not recommended, perhaps in the words of where to even begin. Pet owners also report it is not recommended. A cockatoo. This book talks about where to even pet owners. It is not recommended. Perhaps in the words of poet, despite its banging name. You're right. Not great. Performing. Despite its banging. You're right. Cockatoos are magnificent creatures. Not great for the name. Performing. Yes. Despite its banging name. Perhaps the most, in the words of poet explorer. You're right. Not great. Performing.